So now moved massively up today. What's the cause for its price action? Let's talk about the news. Let's talk about the fundamentals and everyone's favorite technical analysis. So if you want to know a holistic approach, view, analysis on now, then you have to check this video out. By the way, ba't di ka nakipaglaro sa akin ng StarCraft? Medyo na-offend ako.
Oo,
Tagal na ako
oo nga.
nagyayaya ng
Pa-practice
StarCraft.
pa ako.
StarCraft
Mabagal
2.
ako sa real-time strategies eh.
Hindi. Hindi. Masaya yan. Hindi. Hi everyone, we have Robbi Samson, FirstMetro Securities, and I have a very, very interesting topic to open to you, no? And it's very, very nice also looking at it from someone na nasa brokerage side of things. I want to know your input on this. There's a lot of talk about the third telco series, PLDT Globe, then eventually Dito won. Prior to Dito winning, Now was very much in the thick of it. Pero now has moved up massively. Do you think this is something that will be actually sustainable? Or this is something that, because may lumabas lang na balita that they could actually do all of these things right now, kaya lang siya nag-push up?
So I think it's been telegraphed before pa na Now was able to secure a fourth telco franchise. So I think most of the movement here today is based on the fact that there's a little detail in the reports that say that Now Corporation is preparing Now Telecom for a public listing by way of introduction. So I think that's actually what caused Now to go higher. Kasi if we remember a few months ago, I think this was in August or July, I think. Robinson's Land issued a property dividend for Altus Property Ventures. And if you remember, diba, it went from I think 10
no ceiling
pesos all the way to no ceiling. Diba? So I think especially since it's fresh in most investors' minds, that's something that drove prices higher for Now. The expectation that if I buy it now, and then Now said that they would be doing it by way of introduction naman eh. So as a property dividend most likely. The same could happen, di ba? If ever Now Telecom is finally listed in the stock exchange, and it would be subject to the same rules as APVI before, na there's no ceiling, there's no floor. The market, the PSE will let the market decide on the fair price for it. It's going to be good for yun yung speculation nila. What if the same thing happens for Now Telecom with Altus Property Ventures? And the added benefit is that Now Telecom is supposedly a stronger stock than Altus Property Ventures, diba? If Altus Property Ventures, which owns just I believe one mall in
one mall
in the Ilocos, yan. How much more Now Telecom, which is already granted the fourth telco franchise, diba? It seems like plans are progressing nicely naman. They're signaling that they intend to really take advantage of this franchise. So I think that's what investors are doing here. So from that perspective alone, I think it's a bit more sustainable. Sustainable. Kaya especially if a stock closes kasi at its ceiling for the day, there's a very, very good chance that the following day there's a continuation of the buying pressure. So yun. So ganun yung I think that's what happened with Now today.
So that's just for everyone watching this, so that's the, I guess, news perspective of it. Another facet I'd like to ask there is, should they actually pursue being a fourth telco provider? What's your sense of, will the market be too crowded already na baka it really might, do you think they can take up a dent up against PLDT and Globe, and then makikihati pa siya sa dito in terms of subscribers? Kasi ano lang eh, your subscriber base will be the Philippines eh. So parang this is your pool for you to grow also. It means that you're gonna take out subscribers from the competitor. From that aspect, from that business sense, how do you think it will also go for now in that? And do you think maunahan niya kagad si Dito in terms of rolling out things, kasi Dito will be operational pa from a sales standpoint by March next year. So how do you think this will go?
Yeah, so I think mauuna si Dito. So far, we're seeing they're up to 780 towers now or something. And I've been seeing actually a lot of vehicles marked with Dito Telecom driving around the city. So I guess they're starting to look for properties now where they can put up those cell towers now. But for your question, it it depends on whether the government will one thing I think is will the government allow yung pag-switch ng networks while maintaining your old number. I think that's one factor that will help a new player battle challenge an incumbent player. Kasi it gives the consumer a lot more incentive to just switch to another without losing any of your numbers, all your history, your contacts. So that's something that's positive.
And hindi lang yun, I think it's just sorry to interrupt, but hindi lang yun yung mahirap dun eh. Yung number mo dun nakatouch lahat, kung nawala yung online banking mo, yung Facebook mo, yung email, everything text would text that eh. Yeah, also I think that's a consideration also for people.
Yes, exactly. So that's why it has to be a tandem eh. So if it's just now or Dito entering the market without government regulations, in a way helping them, there's not a lot of incentive. At the very least, medyo maghihiwalay yan. You can subscribe to Dito for your internet pero maintain your Globe na mobile. So pwedeng ganun eh. I think the market for internet is still large naman. For fiber, for internet, I think that market is still large. There's a lot of unserved areas all over the province na walang fiber internet. So from that perspective, pwede pa sila talaga mag-unahan. So there's a large market untapped there. Yun namang mobile, yung tower sharing could be another consideration, di ba? If tower sharing is enforced, that would help the new players enter the market with a good because I think the same thing happened with Sun Cellular before, di ba? They offered a great deal, yung only text and call na 300 for 1 month, but especially the heavy call users and the more affluent, they didn't necessarily switch. Diba? They didn't necessarily switch to Sun Cellular kasi mas konti yung towers niya. So, yung mga drop calls, diba? That was an issue before, diba? Yung mga drop calls, yung mga after 15 minutes, mawawala yung calls mo, mahirap makakontakt. So, that's something that tower sharing should be able to serve din. Kaya I think it really depends on whether the support from the government will continue, and that should help make the new entrants become more of a threat to the existing ones.
Sun Cellular days, no? Yung mga naka-unli sa Sun, hindi nagre-reply pag Globe or PLDT ka. Pag Sun Cellular tinext mo, in-expect mo, wala ka na makakuha na reply kasi they only reply Sun to Sun kasi yun yung unlimited area. So what does that mean at this point for NOW Telecom? It's still too early since wala pa talagang the proof will be on how they perform later on, or if you are an investor right now, is it okay to take the risk, jump the gun, knowing that pag nakapasok na sila, makakakuha pa rin sila ng market share?
Yeah, well, from that perspective, no, especially since if investor ka, you still have to realize that the reason you're investing in now is because of the promise of it truly becoming a fourth telco, kasi it has a lot of hurdles pa din naman to clear, like with Dito, it has a lot of hurdles to clear. So as long as you understand that, even if you're technically a longer term investor, dapat alam mo na long-term investor for Dito or long-term investor for NOW means that you are banking on its eventual ability to operate. So hindi mo muna siguro, pwede mo muna sigurong i-disregard konti yung profitability niya. So the mere fact that it will be able to operate and it will gather siguro market share, take some market share away from the incumbents, that should be enough to make the sentiment positive about these stocks. Kaya kahit medyo hahawakan mo siya 6 months, 1 year, as long as the developments continue to be positive, you will see that Now and Dito will probably go up higher in price. Parang ganun. Mahirap kasi siya it's a bit too hard. Even research analysts don't really forecast beyond the year because it's just too dynamic. So if we're going to talk about where Dito or where Now will be 3 years from now, 5 years from now, parang for me baka pwedeng manage our expectations. We are buying, or you are buying into these stocks with the expectation that they will be able to operate or that things will progress smoothly from there. So yun muna yung parang pinaka-fundamentals mo. So, tsaka mo na i-consider yung ano ba talaga ang earnings nila, magiging profitable ba sila, ano ba yung magiging margins nila. Kasi we don't know. They haven't even released pricing schemes pa. Diba? We don't know how much their internet will go for. We don't know if Unlitex and Corp. So we don't even know how yet they will compete with the current products on offer from Globe and Smart.
I just like to summarize a couple of things. Yung movement, it's pretty much news-driven because of what possibly could be something that's like ATVI. Then sa fundamentals, since they're not operating, you're not basing it on sales and income. So
see here that essentially itong dalawang red zones na ito, especially this one, the one on top, is our resistance zone. So this area is your resistance zone. So as we all know, Now is currently at 3.58 pesos. So expect some follow through. So if ever the next milestone, diba, from a trading perspective, the next milestone that it needs to break is to break above this area, which is I think 3.7 to 3.8. So assuming it closes above 3.7 to 3.8 tomorrow, then there's a huge possibility that it might go up further. If you'll notice, I use the body as my parang resistance point because I think that it's a stronger indicator. Yung opening and closing prices are stronger in terms of its messaging, whether it's a strong resistance or support. Kaya right now, yung next resistance mo is probably going to be at around 4.3 pesos. So if it manages to break past 3.8 tomorrow and manages to close above it, you can probably target 4.3, which is an extra 13% away. Yeah, so that would be your next ano. So we have to remember lang again, this is all based on the fact that list by way of introduction si NOW Telecom. From how I read it seems like they're certain that that's how they're going to proceed. So baka madami pa yung bumili. Kasi essentially, if you can buy it and hold it until you receive the dividends, baka ganun din yung mag-action from APBI. The thing here kasi is that a lot of investors probably had a positive encounter with APBI before, no? So baka yun yung inaasahan ulit nila na what if ma-replicate. So that might cause the stock to sustain its upward trend in the near future.
Galing. Tapos observing the chart, people could see it na from October I think 2019 may downtrend siya na break somewhere around June. Tapos after that yung current price ngayon nagpo-form siya ng higher lows already, which is indicating a couple of things na mukhang iba na nga itsura nitong trend na to. Pero I have a question. If you are a trader tapos nakabili ka below the 2.5 level, say hindi na niya ma-break yung resistance na yan, would you suggest that they hold on it for a bit or take profits na kagad?
Personally, I would take profits. Especially in a very high-moving stock like this one. We don't know how the market will react. We don't know what news will come out. We don't know if these are just yung traders lang talaga na humahawak for the short term. So you have to, that's usually the dilemma when it comes to stock trading. You're already profitable, but you don't know when to sell. So that's why it's very important that you set your limits clearly. If you say that you're already up, let's say you're up ng 50% na today or 60% up, set a limit as early as now. If it loses, if my earnings become 40% or if my earnings become 30%, I will sell.
For people who have cash, hindi nakabili, do you suggest that they wait for the breakout from the 3.8 level and then that's where they position, or they wait for the stock to go back down to the 2.75 support level based on your drawing here?
They can do both ways. So, pag nangyari naman yung isang condition, most likely hindi na mangyayari yung isa. So, that's why it's a good idea to put it in chart form. Para you can clearly see, if it breaks out above 3.8 kunwari, I will buy. If it doesn't, and instead it goes back down to 2.75 and it stabilizes there, it stays there, then I will also buy it. So, you can actually do either way. Pwede yan. Those are both valid strategies.
What's your summary on this from a news perspective, fundamental perspective, and then tech perspective? And then, final words, Mr. Robbi Samson. Sobrang yaman, guys. Yung sinasabi niya 13%, 13 million na yata yun para sa kanya. Mga ganong bagsakan.
Yun. So now, essentially, the narrative surrounding now is definitely positive. Essentially, they reinforced the security of the Telco franchise. Tapos yun nga, they already started signaling how they would proceed with the listing of the telecom arm talaga. I think that's something that people also have to remember about Dito right now. It's actually the holding company of Dito. It's not the telecom company. So it's not a good idea to say na ngayon 3 pesos pa lang si Dito, pero si Globe 2,000 na. So eventually magiging 3,000, 2,000. So they're actually, one is a holding corporation and the other one is a telco corporation. So with Now, they signaled how they would be listing the actual telco arm. So it's expected that they will be able to do it because they're the ones that said it. Kaya I think sentiment will remain positive for this in the next few days. From a technical perspective, simply put, if hindi ka pa nakakabili ng Now right now, if it closes, depending on you, if it closes ba or if it breaks out of 3.8, you can decide to buy. Just manage your risk. Never lose more than 10% from where you entered. If for some reason it doesn't go your way, that's just how the market goes. No? Don't take it personally. Para you will be able to act on the next opportunity that will arise. But 3.8 is your milestone breakout point. Buy it when it goes above that if you want to. Otherwise, you can wait for it to go back to around 2.5 to 2.75, wherever it will stabilize.
By the way, for those who are watching, malaking impact din kasi kaya ganun yung stock prices nung Globe PLDT. Highly connected din sa EPS nung stock kasi. So, people need to take that into consideration plus the number of shares na nakalabas because that also determines the PE of the stock in general. So thank you so much, Robbi, for your insight. Sobrang galing. Feeling ko nagmukha akong mahirap kasi sobrang galing talaga. Anyways, thank you so much, and I hope you guys got a lot from this. No, at least this is a very, very holistic approach that you saw the charts, you got snippets of what it could fundamentally be, and then yung price action based on the disclosures for the day. So, that's it. I hope you guys got a lot from this. And pero si Robbi talaga nag-StarCraft kasi money is so much working for him. Wala na, okay na. So, thank you everyone. God bless you all. See you all again soon.